Good evening, friends. It is, when is it? It is Tuesday, the 29th of March, 2022. And I hope everybody's doing well, and I hope everybody kind of enjoyed that well, I think it's cool, first ever ORPS match that I attended. It was sure a lot of fun, and can't wait to do the next one. But anyway, I thought I'd check in with you guys because I have some things here, some parts that have come in. I'm not going to open those right now, but they're for the manners. I wanted to talk about a couple of things. So when I ran the match, I used my favorite rubber bolt knob or silicone bolt knob, and so if you can see that, sorry, she developed a failure right there, a split, and there's a better view of it, and kind of moved around on me a lot. So like normally I use these from the bench, but like I had mentioned, this bolt is quite stiff because it's new, so this kind of threw me off a little bit. So I always plan to do something about this bolt knob, and I know a lot of people order the Anarchy or the Glades Armory if you're in the States. I'm not sure if they ship to Canada. However, I've heard some interesting things about the Glades Armory, and I wanted to talk about that real quick, because when you change one of these bolt handles, and I can't speak for either of them, I've never owned either of them, the bolt handle is controls headspace. And so I personally would trust CZ's ability to set headspace more than an aftermarket company. That's just my opinion. And because this gun is so accurate, I really don't want to mess around with it at this point. I'm happy with the headspace, and I know that might affect accuracy, so I wanted to just leave it. So what I did was I made my own bolt handle. So I've done this on every single 452, 455, and 457 I've owned. Like 457s are super easy to do, the screw-on type. But the 455s are a little bit different, 452s. So this one, I made kind of a simpler design. And what it basically does is, some of the 455s have a solid bolt handle. Those are super easy because basically you just grind them into a post, thread the post, and then you can make your own, thread on bolt handle or bolt knob. This one, oh, look at that, I got a scratch. This one was a little bit tricky because there was a hollow in it, and there's a few ways to approach that. The way that I chose to approach it was, there's a hollow in the bolt ball, like the bolt knob. Normally what you'd do is you would drill and tap that. It's a perfect diameter for a 3/8 by 16 tap. However, and I've done that in the past, no trouble. I want to talk about something. This bolt handle is hardened, and I don't mean like, a minor hardened job. This has had some serious hardening done to it, and it's a wonderfully hardened piece. And I did my best to kill the temper on just the bolt knob so I could get a tap in it, and let me tell you, it took a lot of work because I didn't want to affect the temper over here, so there was lots of kind of tricks to get that done. Yours may or may not be like that. I've never had one that was so hard, so kind of new for me. But basically what it is a better look at it here. Basically what it is I left the original bolt in place, and the bolt knob in place, and I threaded the hole for 3/8 by 16ths. And I'll throw some pictures up, but this is basically like a cap bolt, 3/8 cap bolt. And this, believe it or not, is an 18 millimeter Craftsman socket. And I've done this kind of trick before. What you basically do is, what I do is I take the bolt handle itself. I just take this part because I'm in Canada and I probably get tackled. But I just take this part into like a thrift store that sells tools, junk store, and I go one by one until I find one that just kind of suits the profile, because the wall thickness makes a big difference. And then you do have to play around with a Dremel and get it to, instead of being like a hex, to get it to be round to seat in there, and you can get the depth. And like, I tried to get it so the profile blends this way. Like, of course there'll be a seam, because you know how you get it. It's not exactly a precise science, but basically what happens is this cap screw, like, fits exactly, it's a 3/8 bolt, so it fits exactly in the 3/8 opening of the socket, and you basically thread it in, and as it threads in, it bites down. And normally what I do is I put some JB Weld and bed the surface, and then I thread it on, put a little JB Weld inside, and that creates like a bedding point for the bottom of the bolt knob. Now, inside this particular socket, when they cast it, is a perfect depression for the part of the bolt knob, and so that's why it pays to go to a thrift store and figure one out. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's the type of thing that once you do it a couple of times, you'll see how easy it is. However, this particular one, the tempering on that steel was the most serious I've ever encountered. Normally, it's just you just zip a little tap in. For me, this one ruined my tap the first time I tried it, because I didn't even think so. Ruined a $20 tap. But anyway, so this is basically my bolt knob that I'm going to run with for now. I heat blued both of them, as I typically do for stuff like that. Super easy to do, and other than the JB Weld, that's kind of like a consumable thing, it is removable. So like, this would come off, heat gun, unscrew it, a little bit more heat gun, and that would come right off the JB Weld. But that's basically my profile right now, and it works super good. It actually is a little bit, just a hair smaller in diameter than the ball, but it's got quite a bit more real estate, because it was like this before, right? This fits exactly on there. So it's nearly double the length, and it's just slightly smaller in diameter. But the feel is really nice, and not having to worry about it coming, off on you. So the profile of the actual rifle is kind of rad. I really like how the blue offsets the camo, or the purpley blue, I should say. And it allows you to get your hand in the ideal position, right, for running the bolt. Like, tons of real estate if you're wearing gloves or whatever. Like, I don't typically wear gloves, especially on my shooting hand, but it's such a nice fat bolt now, and it sits away from the stock. To me, ideally, it's super easy to flip with your finger, because the original bolt, like, I know a lot of people like those swept back bolts, like the Anarchy's like that, and the Glades is like that. And I think that's mainly because people's hands might be a little bit smaller. Like, with these meat hooks, I don't know. It would put this a little bit farther back towards the center of my hand here, and so like, I don't really need that. And you can see that the clearance on the scope is better than it was before. Like, just perfect, basically, for me anyway. And so it gives me a little bit more leverage, because like I'd mentioned, this bolt is quite stiff to manipulate, and I should say, like, closing on the chamber, even with match ammo. So it'll break in a little bit, but it was definitely something that a little bit of leverage would help. But anyway, I just wanted to film that real quick and show you guys what I've been up to. That was one of the things that, like, even before the match started, I wanted to do it. I do it on all of them. So just wanted to show you guys. This one's been a little bit different because, like I said, it was a little bit of a fight, but the idea is the same. And like, you can do them so basically the socket fully, hides the ball. I leave it like this for a few reasons. I think it's kind of cool just the way it looks, and it's reversible, and it gives you a little bit more leverage this way. But you can certainly find a socket that would completely go all the way up, and then you just have to worry about the profile there, whether you fill it with epoxy or not. I kind of like the look. I think it makes it look like, I actually put some thought into getting that done. Just my opinion. So anyway, there's a couple of things that I'm going to go over real quick on what's on the table for this rifle next. So I don't know if you remember, in one of my other videos I mentioned that one of the differences of the stock of the 455 Varmint Precision Trainer is there's no thumb scallop, I'll say, shelf rest, and your thumb is left wandering. So if you're in the US, it's quite simple. Manners knows that people absolutely love that on their stocks. So you can send it to them and they'll add it and they'll recoat the stock for you. I think no charge. But in Canada, that would be ridiculous for me to do shipping and duty and paperwork. And so actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something a little bit crazy. I'm going to do an adjustable aluminum thumb rest, and I'll just leave it like that. But basically it'll be chassis style. It'll have a thumb rest, thumb ramp that'll fit in the side and allow my thumb to rest in a position. And that's one thing I'm going to be doing. I'm also going to be making, I think, a magazine caddy on the side. Not the Velcro job. I think those are lame. So I'm going to be making a mag holder on the side. I haven't decided if it's going to be left or right. I'm not sure. Anyway, I also thought I'd mention that I put the first coat of epoxy on the holes, the pre-drilled holes. You can see I left a little bit of a depression. Just a little bit, so they're easy to punch out, but they're not sharp anymore because your face goes right here, right? So they just, other than having the sheen of the JB Weld, they kind of disappear. I think if I didn't point them out and show you guys, you probably wouldn't notice. And what I ended up doing, instead of putting a dowel in it like I planned, what I did is I just cut a little piece of new earplug and shoved it in there, and just to give a backing for the JB Weld. And I made sure to smooth it into the crevices because there's quite a few layers of the stock, right? So the JB Weld is probably just as strong as the stock is. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. That's the update. And like I said, I got some parts. They're not all here yet, but when they get here, I'll open up and I'll talk about what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do this thumb rest. It will involve drilling some holes in the stock for the, basically I'm going to insert some threaded inserts to make it adjustable. But it'll just be, I think it'll follow the contours of the stock, and it'll just give me a thumb position. And that's part of my plan for the customization of this rifle as soon as I realized that it was missing that scallop. Now, yes, I could scallop it myself and coat it myself, but why do that when you can make an aluminum one, right? And then I'm still thinking in my head of the caddy that'll go on the side. It'll have threaded inserts as well. This side or that side, I haven't decided yet. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks as always for watching. Any questions or comments, leave them below, and I will catch you guys at the next one.